Okay, sorry about the mix up there. We had to cut this video into parts. YouTube wouldn't take pieces longer than 15 minutes. That's fine. We're getting it worked out. So, the last two pieces that we need to talk about, though, are pedagogical changes and then considerations of how we change. And so, I guess I need to preface this by saying change is hard, change is tough. And uh, if we adapt that growth mindset that we try to teach our kids, that failure's okay, that we learn through failure, that we learn through continuing to want, that we learn to have that desire to continue to learn, that makes all the difference in the world. And so there's four things that we're figuring out from pedagogical changes or from the research that impact us and how we change our pedagogy. The first is that in today's world of online learning, innovation and creativity are going to be vital for critical assessments. Likewise, and I'm kind of smashing some things together here, if we teach the same way we used to, it's not going to work, period. Uh, with this emphasis on technology, with this emphasis on innovation, with this emphasis that kids need to have almost entertainment in their education, especially on these virtual machines. When using technology, we've got to strive for innovation and creativity. And the old pencil paper test, I don't think is going to work in today's world. Now, a lot of people are going to complain, well, will that prepare our kids for college? Will that prepare our kids for the real world? Yeah, because the same thing is happening at the collegiate level as well. Likewise, we don't have to prepare our kids necessarily for college. We really need to concentrate on the CR part of CCR, career readiness. Are kids able to think? Are they able to react to different stimuli? Are they able to adapt to a novel situation and be able to come out good? Okay, so that is the big thing. Innovation and creativity are going to be key. Secondly, I think it's module 3, maybe module 2, I can't remember off the top of my head. We need to provide differentiated instruction and find a means to collaborate, have our kids collaborate, as well as us as teachers to collaborate in this new normal. Differentiating instruction, we're going to look at what Carol Ann Tomlinson and Rick Wormelli have to say about that. We're also going to look at how can we use this new free-form structure of education. And yeah, I'm taking a stretch saying it's free form, but there's a huge opportunity for school redesign here within this. And especially if social distancing and virtual learning and all these things are going to be continued elements of it. We might even see some school districts say, this is kind of a way we can save money on utilities and on lunches and things like that. What if we have kids show up to school Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Tuesday, Thursday, they're working from home? It's a thought, and it might happen. Who knows? But we're going to have to be able to differentiate instruction there. And I could see some school districts that were quick to adapt multi-age classrooms be able to respond a little more efficiently and a little more quickly to this possibility. Either way, we've got to find a way to differentiate instruction here at this level, here in this framework, and we've got to have a way for kids to collaborate. A big pedagogical concern, and this is one that at first I went, what? Why is this in the research? And then I said, this makes perfect sense because I went through it myself. When our kids have frustrations with technology, when our kids have frustrations utilizing new information and using this virtual learning, or better yet, when we have these frustrations as teachers, we've got to understand and empathize with our kids that they're probably having the same difficulties as well. And so, what can we do to ameliorate those problems and help change those concerns? Those are definitely things we need to consider as teachers in the classroom. If our kids are struggling, or if we're struggling, our kids probably are as well. Finally, a real simple principle, but it's one that we're going to have to keep in mind. Keep your focus on the content. It is the delivery that is going to change. Now, I know you want to file that under duh, but if we think we can teach this the same way that we had before, we wind up changing the content. You can't keep both the same. So if we focus on the content, the delivery is what's going to change. If we continue hashing the same way of delivery, our content won't be able to be taught in the same manner or at the same level. So we're going to have to find new ways of teaching this essential content. It's the delivery that changes. Keep focus on the content. I hope that makes sense. How do we change as teachers? Well, it's pretty simple in theory. If we recycle the old plans, old lesson plans, it's going to be stagnant teaching, it's going to be meaningless assignments, and it's going to be kids unengaged, unenthused, and not growing. We want to use this as an opportunity to spark children's interests, to promote the engagement, and to get them excited about learning. With that, if we assign homework, it must be essential homework. It cannot be busy work. One of the old standby stories I always go to is the time where my son in second grade had to complete a word search over Native American tribes, their names, in this big 20 by 20 word search. And I mean, the tears were flowing that night. And it just so happened to run at the same time as parent teacher conferences, which led to me asking a rather poignant question. Why did you do that? What is the point behind it? Needless to say, I didn't get a satisfactory answer, but it provides a good example for us to look at. If we're going to assign something here in this virtual world, it's going to have to be meaningful. It's going to have to be essential. By the way, when we talk about the Marzano strategies, it will be a interesting discussion when we talk about homework. Additionally, we got to find the right tools to use technologically speaking, and adopt this technological piece. We've got to get our kids able to use the correct tools, and I mirror this to problem solving. I've seen math teachers say, all right, here's 10 different ways of doing something, go for it and use what works for you, which is kind of the same approach as far as technology goes. We're going to have to expose kids to technology and teach the technological tools, and then follow that up and have them use them. Yep, that means you're going to be a technology teacher as well. Enrichment and remediation is going to be a key, and that goes with mastery teaching. So if we're teaching for mastery, we're going to have to find ways for enrichment and remediation. Oh, what's the implication of that? Differentiation. Again, we're going to have to tailor education to specific kids' needs and how they're going to improve. And finally, to go back to that technological tool piece, perhaps it's time for us to teach conceptually, thinking of the big ideas, think of the big skills. And I know I mentioned earlier we got to focus on the content. Perhaps our content needs to change a little bit. So, yeah, we might change what we teach. The delivery is going to have to change to pull it up. Some things to think about. Your assignment you'll find on the checklist. I hope this little series here is thought provoking for you. And more than anything, I hope it whets your appetite to come back some more and see what else we can come up with. From the bunker in Westmoreland, Kansas, I'm Dr. B.